Welcome back to Numa Straight. Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1997 P Mint Mark Washington Quarter Dollar, a coin from the United States of America that may look ordinary at first glance, but carries history, design brilliance, and surprising value for collectors. If you have ever overlooked a 1997 quarter, you may want to think again. Because under the right conditions, this simple copper-nickel coin can become something extraordinary. The birth of an American classic, the Washington Quarter, was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. What began as a commemorative design soon became a permanent part of American coinage. Over the decades, the Washington Quarter became one of the most recognized and widely used coins in American history. By 1997, the design had already been in circulation for 65 years. Yet, even in the late 1990s, before the famous state quarters program began in 1999, these coins were still being struck in large numbers for everyday transactions. That makes the 1997 issue one of the final years of the classic Washington Quarter design before the series changed dramatically. Understanding the 1997 P Mint Mark. The P Mint Mark stands for the Philadelphia Mint, one of the major facilities operated by the United States Mint. For many decades, Philadelphia coins did not carry a mint mark. However, beginning in 1980, the P Mint Mark began appearing on quarters, making it easier to identify their origin. The 1997 P Washington Quarter was struck in Philadelphia using a clad composition, meaning it contains a pure copper core surrounded by outer layers of copper nickel. It weighs 5.67 grams and measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter. While millions were produced, the true magic lies not in the standard circulated examples, but in high-grade specimens and rare condition pieces. Design details that make it special. On the obverse, or front side, the coin features the left-facing portrait of George Washington. The word Liberty arches above his head, while the phrase "In God We Trust" appears to the left. The date 1997 sits proudly at the bottom, and just to the right of Washington's ponytail, you'll see the small but important P Mint Mark. The reverse side displays the iconic heraldic eagle design. The eagle holds arrows in its talons, symbolizing readiness to defend, while olive branches represent peace. Above the eagle's head appears the motto E Pluribus Unum. The words United States of America curve along the top, and quarter dollar is inscribed at the bottom. Although this design was common, its historical importance as one of the final pre-state quarters makes it meaningful for collectors who appreciate transitional periods in American coinage. Mintage numbers and availability. The 1997 P Washington Quarter was struck in very large quantities. Hundreds of millions were produced for circulation. Because of this high mintage, most examples found in everyday pocket change are worth only face value. However, coin collecting is not just about mintage numbers. It is about condition, rarity within grade levels, and unique characteristics. While common in circulated condition, finding a 1997 P quarter in pristine, flawless, high mint state condition is far more difficult than many people realize. The importance of condition in coin collecting. Condition is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state. The highest grades, often labeled MS67, MS68, or even higher, indicate coins that are nearly perfect under magnification. Because 1997 quarters were heavily used in daily commerce, most examples show scratches, bag marks, and signs of wear. Finding one that was carefully preserved, perhaps stored in a mint roll or saved immediately after release, can significantly increase its desirability. Collectors compete intensely for top population graded coins. Even modern coins, when preserved in extraordinary condition, can achieve surprising values at auction. Errors and varieties. Another factor that can elevate the value of a 1997 P Washington Quarter is the presence of mint errors. Error coins occur when something unusual happens during the minting process. This might include off-center strikes, doubled dies, or striking anomalies. Although major error examples are rare, collectors are always searching for unusual characteristics. A small variation that escaped quality control can transform a common coin into a collector's prize. Historical context of 1997. The year 1997 was a significant time in American history. It was just before the launch of the State Quarters program in 1999, a groundbreaking series that would reignite interest in coin collecting across the nation. Many collectors consider 1997 to represent the closing chapter of the original Washington Quarter era. This gives the coin an added layer of historical interest. It represents the final moments before a major transformation in U.S. coinage design and marketing strategy. Why collectors love modern rarities. Some people believe that only old silver or gold coins can be valuable. But modern coin collecting has proven otherwise. High-grade modern coins, especially those with limited surviving populations in perfect condition, can command impressive prices. The 1997 P. Washington quarter fits into this category. While billions of quarters were made throughout the 20th century, only a tiny fraction survive in near-perfect certified condition. Collectors who specialize in registry sets often seek the very best example available, driving competition and increasing market value. The role of professional grading companies evaluate coins based on luster, strike quality, surface preservation, and eye appeal. Once a coin receives a top-tier grade, it is sealed in a protective holder and entered into a population report. When a coin is listed as one of the finest known examples, its value can rise dramatically due to collector demand and scarcity at that grade level. Investment potential. Modern coins like the 1997 P. Washington quarter show that valuable finds are not limited to ancient treasure chests. With knowledge, patience, and attention to detail, collectors can discover hidden potential in coins that others overlook. While most 1997 quarters are common, a flawless high-grade specimen can become a centerpiece of a collection. It reminds us that rarity is not always about age, sometimes it is about condition and survival. Final thoughts. The hidden treasure. The story of the 1997 P. Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar teaches an important lesson: never underestimate ordinary objects. A simple coin from your pocket could hold extraordinary potential under the right circumstances. We are diving deep into the 1982 D. Mint Mark Washington quarter from the United States, a coin that represents a turning point in American minting history and one that could be worth far more than most people imagined. A year of change in American coinage. The early 1980s were challenging years for the American economy. Inflation had affected metal prices, production costs were rising, and the coin industry was facing serious adjustments. During this time, the United States Mint made several important decisions that would impact collectors for decades. One of the most significant changes? In 1982, the Mint did not produce official uncirculated mint sets. That decision alone created an unexpected rarity. Because there were no government-issued mint sets for that year, collectors had fewer opportunities to preserve high-quality examples directly from official packaging, and that brings us to the 1982 D. Washington quarter. The meaning behind the D. Mint mark. The D. Mint mark on this quarter tells us it was struck at the Denver Mint. For decades, the Denver facility has produced billions of coins for circulation. The 1982 D. Washington quarter was struck in large numbers for everyday use, meaning most of them entered circulation immediately. Unlike special collector editions, these quarters were meant to be spent. They jingled in pockets, passed through cash registers, dropped into vending machines, and were stacked in bankrolls. Very few were carefully saved in pristine condition. That's why high-grade examples today are surprisingly difficult to find. The iconic design. The obverse of the Washington quarter features the portrait of George Washington. His calm profile has been a symbol of American strength and leadership since the quarter was first introduced in 1932. On the reverse, we see the classic eagle design used before the state quarters era began in 1999. The eagle stands proudly with wings spread, clutching arrows and olive branches, representing both readiness and peace. By 1982, this design had already been part of American life for 50 years. Yet few people at the time realized that certain coins from that year would later gain serious collector attention. Why 1982 is special? So what makes the 1982 D. Washington quarter stand out? First, there were no official uncirculated mint sets issued in 1982. That means collectors today must search for high-grade coins that somehow survived circulation. And second, quality control in the early 1980s was not as consistent as in other eras. Many coins from this period show weak strikes, contact marks, or surface abrasions. Finding a sharply struck, well-preserved example with strong details and clean surfaces is far more challenging than the original mintage numbers might suggest. Third, demand for top-condition examples has grown significantly as modern coin collecting has become more popular. Condition is everything when it comes to coin value. Condition is king. Most 1982 D quarters you find in pocket change today will be heavily circulated. They may show scratches, dull luster, flattened details, and worn high points, especially on Washington's hair and the eagle's breast feathers. In circulated condition, these coins typically carry only face value, but when we step into the world of mint state grades, coins that show no wear and retain their original luster, everything changes. Collectors and professional grading services use a detailed numerical scale to determine a coin's condition. At the highest levels of preservation, even small differences in strike sharpness, luster quality, and surface cleanliness can dramatically affect value. And this is where the 1982 D Washington quarter becomes exciting, the challenge of finding a high-grade example. Because these quarters were made for circulation and not saved in official sets, true high-grade pieces are scarce. Many examples graded in lower mint state levels still show weak strikes or contact marks from bulk storage. Coins that achieve top-tier grades, with blazing original luster, strong strike details, and minimal imperfections, are rare. Collectors compete aggressively for these pieces when they appear at major auctions. The combination of historical context, condition rarity, and collector demand drives prices far beyond what most people expect from a modern quarter. Minting details: the 1982 D Washington quarter was struck in a copper-nickel clad composition. By this time, silver had long been removed from circulating quarters. The coin weighs 5.67 grams and has a reeded edge. Although millions were minted, the absence of official uncirculated sets means the supply of high-end collector quality examples is limited compared to other years. This difference between mintage and surviving quality is one of the most misunderstood aspects of coin collecting. A coin can have a high production number yet still be rare in top condition. Errors and varieties: collectors also search for striking errors on 1982 D quarters. Off-center strikes, doubled dies, clipped planchets, and other minting mistakes can increase value dramatically. However, even without dramatic errors, a perfectly preserved regular strike coin can command impressive prices. The key factors remain: strong strike, original luster, minimal contact marks, eye appeal. When all these elements align, the coin transforms from pocket change into a collectible treasure. Why modern coins are gaining popularity? For many years, collectors focused mainly on older silver coins. But modern coins from the 1980s and 1990s are gaining new respect. Why? Because time has revealed which coins are genuinely difficult to find in superb condition. As grading standards tighten and population reports show limited numbers at the highest grades, collectors begin to recognize true scarcity. The 1982 D Washington quarter has become one of those coins. It represents an era when coin production was focused on quantity, not preservation. That reality makes surviving pristine examples even more impressive. The psychology of the hidden treasure: there is something thrilling about the idea that a simple quarter, something millions of people handled without a second thought, could be worth a life-changing amount in the right condition. It reminds us that value is not always obvious. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, sometimes it sits in a forgotten jar of old coins. Sometimes it waits quietly in a collection assembled decades ago, and sometimes it appears unexpectedly at auction, shocking even experienced collectors. Auction records and market strength: when a 1982 D Washington quarter achieves one of the highest certified grades, bidding can escalate quickly. Serious collectors understand how difficult it is to locate such an example. As demand grows and supply remains limited, prices reflect that competition. The market for condition rarities has proven strong in recent years. High-grade modern coins are increasingly viewed as long-term collectibles rather than just curiosities. What should you look for? If you want to check your own quarters, here are a few tips. Look for strong luster that shines when tilted under light. Check Washington's hair for full detail. Examine the eagle's feathers on the reverse. Inspect surfaces carefully for scratches and contact marks. Even small improvements in quality can mean big differences in collector value. Always handle coins by the edges, and never clean them. Cleaning can permanently damage surfaces and reduce value significantly. The legacy of the 1982 D quarter: more than 4 decades later, the 1982 D Washington quarter stands as a reminder of how historical context influences modern value. It was born during a time of economic pressure. It was released into heavy circulation. It was rarely preserved in pristine form. And because of that, it has earned its place in the spotlight among modern U.S. coin collectors. Final thoughts: the next time you see a 1982 D quarter, pause for a moment. Look closely. Notice the details. Think about the journey it may have taken over the last 40 years.